Let's not smoke on YouTube
Yeah,
Why?
no.
It's legal. What do you mean?
unless it's at least not in the beginning.
Oh, okay. So you want to diamonds?
Eat the blunt first.
You saw
Then he
diamonds
want to put on
face.
some rules.
Well, that's how it goes.
I
So
see you smoking. I'm like, it's a go. It's a go.
It's a
so
go,
I've
right?
so
been
so
It's
I've
you
a
been
see
go.
staying with
you
this.
see how
I've been staying with this L.
you should have been
Finally,
smoking,
Yo.
but you see how I'm
well,
sitting.
I
Like
wanted to be respectful. I
you
was
see, do you
waiting for
see
the
how I'm
crew.
sitting? Do you get it?
So we're not allowed to smoke. I just won't smoke.
You can, just not on screen.
Welcome back to High Consciousness Podcast, friends. You got your host, Poppy Lynn, in the house. We got your co-host, T, joining us as usual. And we got Diamante Stone. You heard? Squad!
You know it. You
That
know it.
dang gang is in the house. You feel me?
Listen,
T, you want to start us off? Oh,
that's
you guys
fine.
didn't hear
Look,
that, right? Did you?
we heard it.
Ah,
The people who are gonna watch are gonna see the
heard
smoke.
it.
Look, it's
And
fine.
that too.
It's fine. I was born. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, wow, that's crazy.
You know, I would if I wasn't mistaken, and I really was just like a guest. I would think you're trying to bait me for views.
For a rookie,
Like you're
right?
trying to trigger me for some views.
Damn, for some clout,
Right. Over here, already got my eye twitching. You know what I mean? Like,
Uh-huh. It's because I know you.
That's how you know it's serious.
That's how you know.
Hey, yo. T, you want to start us off with a quote?
Yes. Quote of the week, the day, the month, whenever you get to it. Never ask a fish how to catch a fish. You ask a fisherman.
So what does that mean to you?
As a man, you don't ask women for advice about women, especially when it comes to dating and relationships. You really don't.
Yeah, I agree to that. All right. There you guys have it. The quote of the week, the day, the month, whatever you want to call it.
be
Okay.
the moment.
The moment, right? Even
The
the
moment.
moment. It definitely goes into the moment because today's episode is going to be a blast. Whoop, whoop. So let's take a moment to reflect on last episode. We got to talk more about ourselves and got into an interview of us. And I like to call it an interview because we give more of a personal background of who we are and how far we've come as individuals in this life. So thank you for tuning in and listening. I hope you all enjoyed it and enjoyed us being clowns like we always are. And today we could be more of a clown because we got a special guest. Whoop, whoop. But for this episode, we decided to again create a poll on Instagram and see what the audience wanted to hear. The main topic is relationships, but subtopic that overruled was dating world. So, ooh, this one's exciting. But I'm really excited to talk about this. Under the subtopic on today's episode, we will split it up into two parts. So today's the first part. And I just want to take a moment to also thank you guys for your feedback. The ones that did provide feedback, we took that into consideration. I even put it on our Instagram that some of the feedback was the episodes are long. Some of the feedback was that you guys like the quotes and also how we segue into the recap aspect of things. So I just want to take the moment to pause and really say thank you for the ones that are listening and also are providing us that feedback because feedback goes a long way. Um, so for today, we're going to be talking about complications of the dating world and the generality in terms of how it should go and what it's actually happening and our experience around that as men, women, and me, myself, talking about my own experiences with dating women. So let's start it off. What are some complications we've heard and have experienced in the dating world currently? Now, let's not go all at once.
I just want to preface this with also like this is
Again?
and this is opinion based.
Yes.
Everybody can choose to do what they want to do in a
Fact.
world where half the pineal glands are calcified. You know, I'm not here to argue with anybody. Like, this is how I choose to live my life and my opinions and how
Yes,
I think things should be from a moral standpoint.
facts.
Just want to preface it with that. Do what thou will, but it's just how I see it.
Nice mute. Okay,
You know,
It was
I
just-
did good this time.
nice. W
I
host.
didn't want to, not be ladylike again.
W host.
We live and we learning.
Yeah, seriously. If you're not applying it on the next like opportunity you get, then I don't know what you're doing.
But isn't that the whole point of life?
Yeah, literally. Even in the dating world,
I
bring
was
it
gonna
back
say,
around.
like, so before we go anywhere else, let's slide right off of that topic. Do you or Diamond think that it's necessary to actually go out and get dating experience with more than one person? I'll say more than one person.
You know what's crazy? I'm glad you asked that because I recently had a thought the other day of like, so I see people around me go through like maybe 1 or 2 relationships, and then they'll like their third one will be it, right? Or even like maybe 4. I've probably been in like 6 relationships, and low key, I wish I just had like maybe 2 or 3. I think experience is important in a sense. At least on my end, because now I'm gonna give you the lesbian perspective, because at least on my end, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if I really want a chick
What about him?
that never
Yeah, what about him? What about
experienced,
him? Hold on, let me
or is not
readjust.
let me readjust, or is not that experience. And I wouldn't even mind if she's not, but she's still open, just because it's a lot more that I have to go through, essentially, like, and it's a lot different, it's a lot of learning, and I'm never closed off to the learning aspect of it as long as you're willing to. But at least for me, I gotta say, like, experience does matter. Now, I'm not saying you gotta date like 10 people, right? But like, at least like have had a relationship prior with a girl, or have had something, because then like, it just makes it a lot easier on my end to really feel comfortable and feel like, okay, cool, like, I can trust this, like, I know that you know what you like, essentially. So that's my answer to that.
Diamond, what do you think?
So I feel like dating and relationships are 2 different things. So
That's
we're
true.
only speaking about dating. I think it first starts with how you're raised, right? Because I feel like if you're raised in a space where things have been explained to you, you've been told what to look for, you just been your brought upness was like everything was transparent to you. I don't know that you would need as many experiences per se, but if you've never been told anything and you're just out here willy-nilly, that's the only way you're going to garner said experience, because there was nobody at least tell you beforehand, like, hey, this is what this looks like and this is what you should do, or teach people how to vet each other correctly.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing wrong with dating. There's nothing wrong with going out with an individual and having a conversation. I think you can have a plethora of those in your lifetime. It doesn't, but if we're talking about stepping beyond that, then it gets a little bit more complicated.
Yeah, I can definitely agree to that. And I maybe I was coming from a place of relationships. But in terms of the dating world, yeah, you did bring me back with that one, in terms of you're not really in a relationship. To me, at that point, like, I actually I'm not gonna say that because that sounds really wrong.
What are you gonna say?
I was gonna say I like
Yeah,
them fresh. I like them
2023.
fresh, but you can't. I want to be the first. I
Low
want to be the
rotation.
first.
Okay. All right. All right.
I want to be the first. I don't mind being
You
the
want to have
first.
some first. Okay.
Yeah, you know, like I
You
don't
want to be
mind
the
being like the
first.
first, but it now like that's just talking stages. You feel me? Like
Is that because you value experiences?
I do. Yeah, I do. I
I think
value it.
there's a very big difference with people who this whole conversation will turn into like, oh well, you like them fresh, young, X, Y, and Z, not a lot of
Hmm.
experience. Yeah, but
Hmm.
to a certain extent, if you want somebody, if you are a type of person who values experience and being able to have that with somebody, and you've saved a lot of majority of your experiences for somebody, I don't see what's wrong with that. Or
Yeah,
I
no,
don't see what's wrong with wanting, especially as a man, wanting to, and you usually take the more, correct
masculine
me if I'm
role.
wrong, masculine
Yeah.
role. You in that sense do want somebody that you can say like, oh yeah, I did. You have your little spots, your little
You
dates,
know what I'm
you do
saying?
things.
Little
But when
ego.
it's that special person, it means more. It's like, okay, I've
Exactly.
had this
Yes.
experience before, but I want to have this experience with
With
you. That's
you,
the
right?
difference. Like I
Mm-hmm.
want to. So yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Tarek? Do you think
Yeah.
that men
What about
value
you?
experience or
Yeah,
no?
but if I say it, that's misogynistic. So
Don't
I'm so
start.
I'm so
Come
glad that
on. Don't do that. Don't do that.
you said you want them fresh. Yeah, most men will want their potential wives at this
Right.
point, not
Yeah.
just because relationships are, when you get serious about it, it's not just like, all right, I'm talking to this chick, she's cool. Yeah, we hang out every once in a while, Netflix and chill. That's cool. But like down to the core, at some point you'll want a family. That means you gotta take it serious.
Yeah.
I can't be with someone who's had all this experience, been everywhere, and not because it's, oh, what are you so insecure about? Or, oh, there's nothing that you should feel less than about. It has nothing to do with that. It's everything both of you just said. You want to be the first.
Yeah.
You want to
That's
experience that. You want to be the provider.
hmm
And we've heard this before. And now
Bro,
yeah.
you
I've
just
been
want
hearing
to,
this since I was like 15.
you know what I'm saying? But if
No,
I say that, ugh,
but you know what? It's true because I was like I told you guys, I've been watching podcasts and men also. That's why body count is viewed differently on like a men's perspective to a woman and a woman's perspective to its men. But yeah, like some men actually don't want high body count.
I really
most men don't want them. Not all, but here's the
Yeah,
difference of words, because
yeah,
words are very powerful. When when you hear the words like some, statistically, some doesn't matter. Like that's the exception, and exceptions don't make the rule
yeah.
to anything. When you say all, and now it gets to, now you're talking about extremes. Like you can't just say all black people are ignorant. Can't say that. You can't say that. All Asians are smart. Uh, you you can, but does that make it true? Like I can't say the other thing I wanted to say, so I'll cut myself back. But that's the issue. Like, come on, bro. Come on, bro.
well, I feel like it,
But
it's a slippery slope when you start talking about that, because I feel like a lot of these, and this may be why I don't necessarily associate myself with a lot of women groups or like a lot of females in general. I'm not insecure. Like I'm not like thinking anything but the fact that everything is like, yes, queen, and you got this, whether it's good or bad. You could be cheating on your husband, and it's like, go get that, sis. It's like all this like blind agreeability between the female species right now is scary. Like there's no one to hold anybody
At all.
accountable. If I even try to bring up things that have to do with, men and their outlooks on stuff. It's so funny that they claim that men are just like this unemotional, like walking corpse and all this stuff, when ironically, when they really love you, they are extra emotional. They're maybe even more into it than you are, really, because they decide when they commit, they commit. Now you got to find one that wants to commit. That's the problem. It's not about that they don't, as a species, know how to commit. It's just you're not picking the ones that are like, hey, I want to commit. You're picking the ones that are like, hey, I want to. Oh, yeah.
It,
It's yeah.
it's funny. It's just crazy. It's I love hearing it because it's true, and we literally experience it on our everyday lives, and we don't. And some people are not even aware that they're doing it, and like they're just in it. Like they think that's okay, and it's really not. Because even the other day I was having a conversation with one of my friends, and even her, she was over. She's married, and she was overhearing her coworker talk about her man, and like how like she was just butchering him, and her coworker got in it and was like, "Oh yeah, girl, like, you should do that. Like, you should leave him, like this, that, and the third." And then my friend was like, "Well, why don't you hear him out? Like, why don't you see how he's feeling?" In the situation, it was basically like how she was just giving her perspective, and my friend was coming from
Their
a perspective,
perspective.
right, of like, well, what about his perspective? And are you taking anything that he's saying into account? And she automatically was like she just shut it down, and my friend was just like, I don't even know why I like, but but I told him, like, it goes to show you where their mindset's at, like that they think that, like, they once you tag along and you start talking to people, like, and it's gonna segue a little bit differently, but about your relationship, and then like you
That's
hear
your
something that you
business.
don't
Keep your
want to hear,
business to
then it's like,
yourself.
yeah, right, and it's like, just keep it to yourself at that point, bro.
I feel like there's a level of brainwashing on both sides, because there's been a time at one of my jobs where it was like, oh, we're gonna have like Women's Week because women are super important, and
Hmm.
ooh women, right? And I'm like, yeah, we're great, it's great, right? Just the thought that I was like, hey, so after this, are we having a Men's Week? Across the board, of course, the women were more like,
What?
thought, right? The men were like,
What are you talking
yeah,
about, man?
yeah, let's do that. It's like, but y'all weren't gonna say it, and y'all weren't gonna say it. It just, at this point, it's not even about men and women. It's about the people who choose to think differently,
Basically.
because they're brainwashed on both sides. Like, they
Yeah, man.
won't even stand up for that. They won't even say like, hey, inclusive, shouldn't we contributed stuff, this whole building essentially, so what's up? you know can't talk about that though, it gets too deep.
It's true.
Poet fingers, poet fingers,
You know what I mean?
'cause
It's true. But it's easy for us to say because we we have a different perspective when it comes to understanding why maybe someone is moving the way that they're moving.
yeah,
We've dealt with,
I have that.
we've had to self-reflect a lot and dealt with our traumas,
Yeah,
and
man.
did our inner work so that we could possibly understand, like, we're in customer service, you're irate, that has nothing to do with me. Like, you're coming here for an issue, I understand it's a problem, it's an quote unquote inconvenience in your life, I get it. you know I'm here to help you, so relax, take it easy, get a solution for your problem, simple. But we're in this world right now, and I know the topic's on dating world, but we're in this world right now where, again, we're just being attacked from different fronts. i.e., what is a woman? Why is that even a topic of discussion? Like, I think we're
Too much,
reverse
but yeah.
as a society. We're backpedaling as a race. Oh, we have the smartphone technology. We got 5G. We got self-driving automated cars. We are advanced. I'm done being a man. I'm done. Tired of it. I don't know what that means. I think it's time for me to be a birthing person.
Look,
I'm ready to be a birthing person. Are you guys with me? I apologize if I said guys. Or I don't want to assume.
yeah, and this is a perfect example of why I don't talk to people as much anymore because it's almost too difficult.
Yeah, it's rough nowadays. I feel like
It's really rough.
that's one of the main complications. Like oh my God, like you just start talking to somebody, and me and T were having this conversation on the other podcast. Like you start talking to somebody, and it's like it's so surface level. Like what happened to like actually having some depth to you, like being deep, like wanting to
Here
like
this morning. Sometimes
nah. Yeah.
people be yapping, and like I do a lot of things. We do a lot of things in general in this house to make sure that like our brains are functioning, they're firing. We take adaptogens, all kinds of stuff.
Facts.
I feel like I have all these new cells and brain cells moving and being created throughout the day. And I talk to people in customer service and they just burn them as I speak. Like as they start to speak to me, they're burning. That's why I have to do so much to keep them alive.
Yo, that
And when I come home, I'm like, thank God.
Yo, facts. I'm like, oh my God. I'm safe. I'm with people.
I'm back at home base. I'm back.
My own thoughts.
Oh, I'm done fighting the war.
It'd be a fight, dog. Yo, real quick though. Real quick, it'd be a fight, but like that. How do y'all feel about dating apps? I know how you feel.
I'm not very familiar with them.
Yeah.
I never really used them like that at the time. Like I've been in a relationship for a solid minute now. And I never really at the time they were kind of like not as prevalent, and I might have hopped on once or twice, but I never like did it and met up with the people and all that. Like no, it's very like messages. I have no opinion on it really. I mean, I hear things.
I know you encouraged me, but I can't. I have
yeah, I mean, I just figured that's the thing people do nowadays. So I was just like,
nah, I'm not built. That's why it's hard for me right now because I'm
hard?
not. Yeah, like I'm not built for that. Like honestly, like I really have stress because then I was also watching a podcast and they're like, well, if you're going on dating apps, like you can't expect what you want, like, and like in terms of like what would actually like who you would actually find like a woman with morals, a woman that because they're on there for also another reason.
So from like a guy's perspective, like how do majority of men see a dating app as? Because the women, we see it very like we're gonna find a relationship, and that's why we make all these compilation videos about how all these dates went, and we're looking for our man. But how do you guys see it, and what would you guys prefer instead?
One, we would have preferred women to be honest, but that's never gonna happen. So it's a whole big game. Like, how many profiles do people have to go on? And granted, I've also been out of the game for just as long as she's been out of the game, So, but how many people do I need to see make a video about? Okay, the bio is, I need you to be such and such height. I need you to take me out on trips. I'm not here for hookups. Blah, blah, blah. But then you swipe the pictures and it's like, in a man's brain, if I'm seeing nothing but IG pics or, you're a streetwalker, for the most part, like, you're in one box. Men are we put everybody in categories. Like, you show signs to prove yourself, to be like, okay, I can take you seriously. I could see myself bringing you around the family, and you won't bring me shame. Like,
Would you take dating apps seriously?
no,
Would you
absolutely
meet
not.
people organically?
Me personally, it should be organically. Like, dating apps, ultimately, and for that reason, is just for hookups. Even the ones that say no, I don't do hookups. That's cap, because they don't do hookups with you. They'll do
Or
hookups
you're going
for
out for that dinner. They
hey.
do it for that free dinner.
They do it
Hey
for the
yo.
foods, the foodie
Yeah,
dates.
for the
Yo,
foodie dates.
nah, did you guys watch whatever podcast spoke about that? They had an article pop up, right? And they had asked like the girls that were in the podcast that day, and they were like, basically a woman was going out with men that were like to save money on her groceries. So
I saw
she
the
would go
article.
out to dinner every single
that.
day.
Yes. Go ahead.
Yo,
It was for
It's your
she said
bag.
like six days
Foodie
a
bag.
week. 6 days a week for like almost 3 years.
But she was
Bruh.
saving on the foodie bag and the bag.
yep.
Yeah.
I was like, and
Well,
then
that's what happens when inflation happens.
Oh,
and he
yeah.
asked like, so what are your
People out here
opinions?
ruthless.
What are your opinions?
Some girls were like, no, like 2 girls out of 5, they were like, one was like, that's not okay, like I don't agree. Another one was like, well, sis had to do what she had to do.
You
And
know it. Get the bag, sis.
Doing
Like,
what she had to do. That's the part for me that get
Had to.
had. That's excessive. Wanted. Sure.
want to do.
Had.
It's something you want to do.
Had.
But wanted is
No.
too much because that's taking accountability.
No, yeah, what?
Of course.
Accountability. Yeah, no. Women hate that. Yo, that's just one of the reasons why
That's
I
facts.
keep my conversations very brief with women in the first place, because most of the time when we start talking, it's going to segue into your life and what's going on. And my first reaction is to give you advice. And most of my advice is very transparent, very blunt, very straightforward, very to the fact. And they don't like that. They want it sugar-coated. They want it longer. They want more words. And I'm like, sorry, no, I don't do long words anymore. I just
It's just better to get straight to the point, even with intentions though. Like that's why I say like intentions matter, especially when you're talking to somebody or somebody tells you like, hey, this is like, this is what my intentions are. Like, what's up, And the thing that I've noticed in my world is that women beat around the bush a lot. Like they'll like ring you along and
because
along
it's like
and
a
along.
game.
And it's like, bro, nobody
It is a
like I
game.
used to be here for that because I used to know how, like, and I wanted it, but at this point it's like, nah, if you can't be straightforward and just, yes or no, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm good. It's wasting time.
Well, that you have a interesting genre, because like you have to sift through the women that like women and the women that like women and men.
Yep.
That's a lot. It's a lot to
And
deal
the
with.
crazy part about that nowadays that I'm starting to notice is that some women still within like wanting men and women, they don't know the difference when they're there, because then they even
Difference.
expect a woman to act like a man.
There you go.
And it's not
you
that
can't.
way
It's
at
not how
all.
that. They still get a period. They still
Yeah,
go through phases.
exactly.
That's not how that works. They can give you like dominating type of features and role play in a way, right? But when you get down to it, you being mad at them for being genetically who they are is like, go. It's not, again, it's not Bill. All right. It's not. It's just kind of like, you're dating another girl. Sorry. That sounds like you really just like dudes. So you should just stay over
Stay
there
with the dude.
and
Stay
just
with the
vet
dudes.
better. Just vet a little better. That and this whole idea of like wanting to have like, again, all these experiences. It's like I feel like at a point, like even when you're experimenting, you figure out that at some point it don't take too much to figure out what you like.
Mm-hmm.
This whole like I don't know still, like you just sound like you're playing both sides just to have more options.
Yep. More
Or
attention.
just I'm open
More
and I'm
attention.
like so for like down for whatever because I'm just a wild girl. So different.
Oh man. All right. So
Right.
thank you guys for sharing. Oh, I was about to segue into something else, but let's get this
Oh
going real quick.
man. Oh man.
It's like 30 seconds. It's funny that you mentioned that, the whatever podcast. Um,
All right. So for our listeners,
for our listeners, yes,
yes.
I'm presenting a clip of, it's only about 35 seconds. And I don't really got to explain it, just listening.
Like, I'm actually quite shocked at how dysfunctional this panel is and how nobody can maintain long term relationships. Let me explain, right? So, I'm actually pregnant with a girl right now. So, I'm having a daughter, and being here is like terrifying because I have to see like the world that my daughter is going to come up in. And I don't want like what you guys are experiencing. I would never want or wish for my daughter. I don't want my daughter to be used by like some guy in high school or like some guy in college because that's what's going on. Because we're talking about dating and situationships. We're giving our bodies to these men. And I don't want her to be used by some guy who could care less. You know,
Right?
Is that not what I was saying before? How you were raised? She looks like she's on the path of being able to start explaining these to her daughter early on so she can avoid the mess and not be subdued by your teenage hormones and some dude talking nice to you in your ear because your mom or your dad didn't take the time out to be like, look, they're gonna really talk to you real nice in your ear, right? And you gotta like not fall for that and just no.
So
I love that.
But also,
Yep.
the difference is that I admire her. Why? Because she wants to keep adding kids to this world. I feel as though sometimes, like nowadays, a lot of people, and you'd be surprised, but a lot of people don't want to have children.
Yo,
Like,
I don't want to cut you off, but add on to that, this is the first time in history, I think it's over 50% of women in the UK by the age of 30 don't have kids.
damn.
First time
You
ever.
they'll defend their first go-to as well. We don't have the money; it's expensive. I say it all the time, and I'll continue to say it. I've seen people raise children with barely a thing. It's something in your instincts as a human being, if you are one, that when you have that child, it just makes you do things. It makes you just mature and become an adult and do all the things. So if we take the idea of money away, what other reason do you not want to have these kids? Because then we can actually talk about why you really don't want to have. Like we should all look at the world of as if we should always look at it as if there's money because reality is as there's money. But for more moral purposes, we should look at things without money. So for example, like my brother, we had a conversation about whether he wanted to have kids because he's been with his girl for a really long time. And his response wasn't money or anything like that, but he just generally was like, I really don't want the responsibility.
I'm about to say it's for duty.
And for what it's worth, I don't that again, everyone has their choices and their preferences, but I love the fact that he could articulate the accountability that like he doesn't want to have that in his life, and that's fine. It's just people that use everything else of why they don't want to, because saying you just don't want the responsibility kind of doesn't sound that great. But you saying like, well, the costs a lot, you know,
That's diminishing.
there's no room for judgment there because it's money. But if you just, well, I really don't want the responsibility, he leaves himself open for some form of judgment, and he's okay with that. That's his choice.
Exactly. Nah, that clip spoke.
It's what's funny is that lady, 28 years old, and this is gonna tie into the next conversation too. She's 28 and she just officially got pregnant for the first time, and her husband is 52. How do you feel about that?
That's how I feel about that.
First.
That big sigh.
I feel like there's no, to a certain degree, like you could look at it how you want, but younger, I mean, if you're talking like 24 and younger, they're not usually looking for older men unless it has to do with money. When you hit like 25 and up, you kind of start looking at older men in a more attractive way than more of a money way. You kind of start looking at them for both. So, I mean, 52 is quite a stretch, but again, she's a wife. She's not a girlfriend. She's not a plaything. She's not a side bitch. Like, I feel like to a certain extent, it depends again on how you said before, Lynn, on the intentions. You know, if this man's intentions at 52 was maybe he never had a kid, he really still wanted to have a kid, so he would need somebody who's younger and more fertile, right? So that's probably his first go to. She's not like she's 20, you know, she's had time to mature and become an adult in her own right, right? And she was looking for a husband, hence why she's a wife. And that's what he wanted, that's what he got. Now, if you're just out here smashing 28-year-olds just cause, now I don't really, again, my stance comes from a moral stance, not what you want to do at some extent. Just it's a moral thing. Like you just ramming through 20-year-olds is like they're 20-year-olds. Like think about the moral obligation you have as like a full grown adult, almost a wise elder, you know, for you to be running through these young women, you know, in knowing as naive as they are, or they don't know any better, or you can razzle dazzle them with stuff. It all depends on your moral compass. So
Yeah, it goes back to intention. I go by intention and what is it that you're trying to get out of it? Like what are you like, are you gonna benefit? Like what is it that you're looking for? Because I sigh like that because I think of my whole thing in this because I live my life this way is mindset for me. So if let's say I'm 52 and I'm single and I just wanna like again, is intentions. Like why would I go that low? Or maybe if I want something like for me, I'm gonna go for like maybe 45. Like that'll probably be at 52 my cap. You know what I'm saying? But like either way, it's still like I don't know. For me, it's just like what is it that you're in it for? And
Mm,
if it is for something better, then
well,
cool. But if not, then you're
I
being
didn't mean to cut you off. I apologize.
now you're good.
But for you specifically, it's different because
True.
like there's just something within a man's mind that I'm not that age yet, but obviously it's been happening since the beginning of time. You just want kids, and at some point, like time happens where you as a 52-year-old woman wouldn't mind dating a 45-year-old woman because that's your intention, right? And it's perfect because it's so perfect. That's your outcome. But for a man, it's a higher risk of like, okay, I'm not saying it doesn't happen. It's just a higher risk of like, okay, if I wanted to have a child, even though it's super late, there's health risk and we don't even know if you're so fertile, blah blah blah. Other things are involved in that. So that's the only thing I can say to in that situation. But I also I agree with Diamond. Like honestly, this age of like, oh, you're 18, so you're an adult, or you gotta wait till you're 21 to drink liquor, but you can go to war in 18. You could vote. You pretty much sign your life away. You can start OnlyFans, but if the person that's paying for your shit wants to see you and date you in person, it's weird. I
right,
can't.
you
I
have all
can't
these.
bridge. Go ahead.
No, you have all these creepers in real life where you're like, no, ew, ew,
Yeah,
ew,
that's
ew,
that's
ew,
another
ew,
part.
ew. But like, give me your money. Yeah,
I'll do
no, but you
anything
can
for the
subscribe to my
money
OnlyFans. Like,
Definitely.
or my feet pics.
my feet, right? Like, it's just again, women nowadays, even in the dating pool, want the bag. they have different ways, different maneuvers, strategies to get said bag. But at the end of the day, most women are seeking men for the bag. Yeah.
Especially during inflation.
Like them. Not because, what a thought. Not because, they found them interesting, or like, wow, that'd be a good husband or a good father to my children, or anything like that. Just first and foremost, where is the bag?
You remember that chick you got on IG that has her sugar daddy husband? Like she was this young thing.
Sugar
going
daddy
on them-
husband no more, but yeah.
Oh, not no more. What happened?
Not no more. Oh, she's a
She
strong,
stopped breaking
independent
that
woman
back.
now.
Oh, now she's strong,
Oh.
independent.
She's strong, independent.
Now she independent.
Yeah.
Oh, she wasn't independent.
After
when she
he
taking them trips.
financed her whole life, essentially. Now
Oh
she's
man,
independent.
now she independent.
And I'm telling you, like, this was like some like girl, like I knew her at the gym, and I mean that everything was sitting in the right places. All right. Like she could get whatever she wanted, and she was young, she could vet. And it was funny. It wasn't so much that like, maybe she did love this guy or whatever the case may be, but the dude was very overweight. She was in the gym, like with a trainer, like she made sure. But I guess she was doing what she had to do to get that man, right? And I mean, the dude just used to spoil her.
Stop the cap.
But the funny thing is, finding a picture of this man was rare. She like, when you like somebody, like you want to post them, you want to show them off. Like I did not see this man all but a few times, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
A quick story. Like just throw that in there real quick so he feels important. Like it gave that vibe. Like I never seen this man in the gym. I never seen him bring her by. Like, when you're a gym person like that, like eventually you bring your boo thing, or bring you. I don't know, but like it just no. But again, it's just like it's none of my business. It's not my business. But it just seemed like.
You know what I have in my head right now? I just have like a commercial in my head, like let's say it's like women wanting older men with money, or just like men in general for their money, and then when like the commercials have that like fast voice that's like like the fine print, the fine print should be like, especially during inflation.
Especially during inflation, yes. And let's just reiterate the fact that women just don't want to work.
Yeah,
and I'm one of them.
Yo, it's crazy.
I don't give a fuck. I am one of them.
At least you take accountability. Fucking Kim Kardashian went on like, I forgot what it was, but it was like probably a couple months back, and they were coming crazy because she was like, she's like, women don't want to work, but she got a point.
She's not wrong. They just don't like to hear it from a very entitled person who has money, just like Trump, right?
They don't like to hear it from men.
They don't like to. Well, that was a woman.
Yeah, but that was Kim. That was Kim saying
Kardashian.
that.
But no, they don't. No one cared. No one's in an uproar.
They were in a whole uproar. The whole feminism, all of them. They were like, he has all this money, and you just
they're like,
you have your chefs,
you don't work, right?
You have your trainers, you have the people that clean your house. You have this and that, but you're telling people they don't want to work anymore. For what it's worth, Kim Kardashian does get her ass up at like 4-5 a.m. to go do her workout, get her workout on before she starts her day. If some of you could just start that
way, you'd be
that. I mean, you could really be on Kim Kardashian level like that, just from a little quick early rise. I'm telling you, yeah.
If people cared, they would stop spending money and stop paying for her makeup and skim line. People don't care. They don't care.
Well, they are kind of. I think that's
starting
to decline.
I'm going to check her stats right now. If she has more money than Kanye, they don't care.
Well, I mean, it's going to take a while for her to impact everybody because
the vibe with her is not.
Kanye
ever since her and Kanye split up, it hasn't been the same. And she said it herself.
Neither of them.
Because she's alpha widowed. That's what it's called.
Yeah, right. Now she's
alpha widowed.
Everything is on judgment.
She's a baby mama because she's not getting married again. In no way. No man's going to do that.
Nah, she does not. I think she over.
No man's going to do that. Men don't want to take care of the
we all know too much.
No, we're not doing that. Not doing that. Because
it's not a flex to say you're with Kim Kardashian anymore.
No.
it wasn't a flex before he even did it.
It wasn't either. She been had this rep.
Ben, like, and even the people in between, like, forgotten about. But I'm sure they were famous. So what's the point? It's a bad image in my perspective, a man's perspective. You shouldn't want your wife out like that. Like, and this is the part of the amalgamation of the OnlyFans bullshit in 10 years from now. All these girls that are like, I'm doing it for me. This is for me. Get the bag, sis. Like, all of that is going to ruin them.
It's gonna ruin,
because
I'm gonna be sitting with popcorn, baby.
They're not
I'm
gonna
gonna
look
sit with
at
popcorn.
they're not gonna look at the men their age the same, because they're not even doing it now. I was just talking to you, Lynn, the other day, like, as a 18-year-old girl, right? Just 18-year-old. The male equivalent is nowhere in quote unquote life experience. Like, nowhere. All the sexual attention all of a sudden because social media from left and right. It's always been a thing. It's always been a thing in your town, locally, and maybe by state. But now since social media, it's global. Global.
That's
and
right.
it's poisoning kids, literally kids. And then they grow up and then they go, I'm 18, I'm 19, I'm independent. I make such and such. I still can't believe, 40,000 selling feet pics.
Yeah, I know. And that's why even that lady that woman that you just posted up talking about kids, and like that's the main reason why you should want to do things differently, especially as a woman, especially as a man too. Like
especially as a man.
both parties. Like, this is why you should want better. That's why it's hard out here. That's why it's hard. At least I say it's hard for me because I'm picky. Like, I've become that picky because of everything that I know, and I continue to know every day. And I've been also taken advantage by women for being the nice guy. I've seen women be taken advantage by men, like vice versa. Like, you feel me? Like, it's all around for both parties, and and that's why the dating world it's a shit show. It doesn't have. It's not like before where you could go out, talk, have a conversation. Okay, I think I may. Nah, I don't. Know. Or maybe
It's so
okay.
quick to judge you off of one thing. Like,
Yeah, true. Yeah, I'm guilty of that though.
It's so quick. It happens so quick. It could be going fine. You can have a nice chat, 5-10 minutes maybe, and then maybe somebody's eye starts twitching, and it's like, you're looking a little crazy. That's not gonna work.
See, I'm guilty of that, but I'm guilty of that in different things, like in things that actually matter to me. Like I look into mindset, like how you talk about yourself, how you treat yourself, what do you have going on, like are you grounded, are you taking care of you, but like I get turned off quick because it's just like I said, it's hard.
But that's why I use that example, because like I said before, we're at that point in our lives where we took care of our traumas and stuff that happened to us for us to want to accept change and want to grow and want to self-reflect and understand even where our emotions come from, why I might feel this way, why I reacted that way, and just move differently.
Yeah.
So we can have that type of, or try to seek that understanding in other people, and try to ask, like, okay, for instance, for you, I'm down and out, but I don't have anybody that I would call my friends that want to support me. Why are you not standing up? This is your opportunity to shine.
Mhm.
Or I said the same thing for me. I had an opportunity like that before I got into therapy. Like, prior, same thing. I did have a quote unquote friend group, but men being men, of course, all they did was joke about it. So, but I needed someone or something to be taken more serious.
Mhm.
And that's just like literally the life of a man. Unfortunately, there isn't much of a support system for us when it comes to being vulnerable or having proper outlets of your emotions, because it's not seeked as a good thing to do or good thing to have, or it makes you seem weak. You know, you don't want to be exploited because now you're weak. So just bottle that shit up, laugh about it, make a joke,
You should have everything already
right?
because we don't have any rights and you get everything, so you should just be ready to go.
Ready to go.
Process, like if you're not ready to go, like there's no thought of like women don't have the thought anymore of like they claim they want to build, but they want to build with somebody who already has something built and then build on top of that. There's not even a thought about like what if we both really don't got nothing, could we build from that? It's like a hard no half the time. Hard
Yeah,
no.
that
Like
honestly.
and go ahead.
No. Finish, please.
I was gonna say, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not saying I like bums. You know what I mean?
Por
I really
favor.
think that I do think that men have to take some accountability in certain aspects of their life, just like women do.
Of course.
They need to get their weight up. They need to get in the gym. They need
Of course.
to start reading some books. They need to
course.
get more of an articulate vocabulary other than football.
Of course.
Right? So there's that, right? But once you do have all that stuff, I feel like there's nothing wrong with, you know, working with somebody who doesn't really have anything. As long as they, you know, I'd say you'd have to like, I mean, I'm 30, so at this age, you would have to have moved out at some point already. You know, you'd have to have your own car. Like, you'd have to have like some relationships already.
Have a certain standard, yeah.
Have it just like, but not on like anything like. It's all intangibles. Like, it's not like what kind of car. I didn't say what kind of car. I said a car. I didn't say what kind of house. I said a house or a place, right? And I want to come over and see it. Like, if you live like a trash bum at 30 years old, I'm not doing it. When's the last time you changed them sheets?
Seriously though.
And more than 2 weeks ago, it's a hard no. Nasty.
You're nasty. Like, very.
I want to come near me with that thing. Ew. 2 weeks. Ew.
It'd be like that though. Like, that's why.
But no, I know.
That's my standards.
I know. And it sounds so basic, but unfortunately,
right.
And I've heard, okay, it's so easy for a man to be above the bar right now, but for some reason, they don't want to get in the gym, they don't want to eat proper, they don't want to read, they don't want to wipe their ass properly, they don't want to make sure their room is clean, they don't want to make sure it smells nice when people walk in. They don't want to look proper. They don't want to dress properly.
Yeah, man.
Can't have a decent conversation other than, you already know, sports. Right. There's no other extra thing that comes to the model. And it's not. So far, you know, we really just been talking mostly, I think I've been hearing a lot about mostly women, but men also need to take accountability as well. Like, the only reason this economy is the way it is, when SWs, which I would say sex work, or, you know, that side of the field, is because of mostly men. Women aren't out here spending their money doing this.
No, they're getting money. They're getting the bag.
They're getting money. They're receiving
the bag.
They're getting the bag.
They're taking money out of babies' mouths, out of their own babies' mouths, and taking them to them strip clubs.
Another quote for you. Yeah, easier than taking candy from a baby. That's a classic.
That is a classic.
Childhood quote.
And that's why when you say, like, you know, the standards, like having those, just those small things done, that's where I had to get there, because I had really high standards. Like, I was just, and I'm like, you know what, I can't be like that either, because now let's be realistic, everybody comes with baggage, right? It's just about, you know, where are you in the place of wanting to be better, and what are you doing to get better?
And you can ask for whatever you want, right?
Mhm.
But be that.
Exactly, that too.
I'm saying it's not like, you can ask for whatever you want, but
It really starts with
be
you.
that.
Yeah, it
Be
starts
that.
with
And
you.
not just be that I got a degree, I got XYZ money. Be that as a person. Be that with some moral standards. Be that with the way you articulate yourself. Don't sound like you came from the streets. Like, it's just whatever
Belongs to
you
the
want.
streets.
You can be, yeah, you could be that. Just be that. Like, have some kind of, like, don't just be like somebody that for a fact barely rolls through life and you're asking for top tier stuff. Like, that's just
Exactly.
delusional. Like,
Yeah.
that doesn't, come on. Like, no one's saying you have to be this, like, especially as a woman. Like,
Mhm.
you really don't gotta shoot for the stars if you don't want to. Like, you don't have to do all this, because clearly men will pay for things for you.
Clearly.
Okay? Just find one. Do it. And get yourself ready for a good one.
Then again, it's like what I've learned is that you're a reflection of who you choose.
Who you choose.
Because you're a reflection of who you choose. So
Episode 1.
like exactly. So it's just that's the basic foundation. So if you want someone that also but then that's where I'm where I'm at too. Like, I want someone that works out or at least takes care of their body. I want someone that wants to think differently. I want someone that has their own everything. You feel me? Like, and it don't even gotta be nothing crazy. Like, you could be average. Like, just get your shit together. Because I got mine now, and there's always going to be room for improvement. That's the point of being in a relationship and doing it together, right? But also still reminding yourself that this is my life. Like, I got to also do it for me. But it's just
like everybody has to just take accountability. Stop looking at Instagram and TikTok and saying, I want to be that.
Like
I want to be that.
I want that
wish
life.
I could be like that. Just go do it then.
Yeah.
Go do it then.
Easier
because I'm tired
said
of
than
hearing
done.
people yapping. That's why I stopped yapping. Yeah, as I realized that at some point in my life, I was doing a lot of yapping. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And I wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
I was just telling people I was doing shit. So I just stopped. Because I was feeding my own delusion by just telling people I was doing shit.
Yeah.
If I tell them when it's done, it's done. It's reality.
That's it.
All this pre-talk is just nonsense.
Yeah.
Wow.
Let the audience know what part 2 is going to be about, which basically is age gap and continuing the conversation. Maybe we'll have some more guests. You will see. Stay tuned. I hope you guys enjoyed us. And part 2 coming soon. You heard?
Real quick, before we leave, you can leave this little last bit in. I want to say, just again, thank you again for the feedback.
Word.
All right. We're going to improve the quality of the show every single episode.
Time that we can. Yes, literally. So
Appreciate
stay tuned.
it. There's going to be more to come. More jokes, more laughs, more content, more stats.
Word.
Cringe.
More cringe.
Definitely more cringe.
More uncomfortability. Love it.
More
I love it.
uncomfortability.
High consciousness, baby.
High consciousness. We need these conversations. Trust me. We need these conversations.
Okay, you'll be okay.
You'll be all right. I gotta pee really bad, so.
Me too. Can I go first?
Yeah, you're downstairs, so go ahead.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave this.